In today's video, I'm giving you a status update on the child tax credit payments. The politicians are currently on break. They're hustling. They're trying to get reelected in the House and in the Senate. They're back in session in the middle of November, and upon their return, they will be trying to pass the government budget, pass more funding for Ukraine, and come to a deal on the child tax credit payments. What we're going to talk about today will not be affected by the midterm elections. That's because the new politicians will be sworn into office in January. This video is about what the current politicians are going to do until that time comes. The Democrats believe that they have enough leverage over the Republicans. The Democrats will be offering tax cuts in exchange for bringing back the child tax credit payments. So they were supposed to make progress on this deal before the midterm elections, but they got caught up with Ukraine funding and student loan cancellation. They ran out of time. They went on break to work on their campaigns, and here we are today. When they return, they're supposed to pick up where they left off. Now, I want to bring you up to speed, and you have to understand that the enhanced child tax credit payments in 2021 was a massive program. The Treasury Department says that the families of 61 million children received payments. This kept 3.7 million children out of poverty and reduced the child poverty rate by 29%. The program ended in December of last year. So the child tax credit payments, they were supposed to be extended for this year in 2022, but Democratic Senator Joe Manchin denied it. That's because you need 50 votes in the Senate to pass something. The Democrats do have 50 seats in the Senate, but Democratic Senator Joe Manchin was against it, so it didn't pass. The progressive Democrats were like, Manchin is a jerk, he's a traitor, he's a Republican in disguise. The Republicans were like, Joe Manchin is the only Democrat with any common sense, he's a good guy. So with that being said, I know there's mixed feelings out here about the child tax credit payments. Mixed feelings in terms of whether the pros outweighed the cons, which is, I guess, highly dependent on who you're asking. But let me tell you what I'm talking about. The Center on Poverty at Columbia University said, after the child tax credit payments expired, those 3.7 million children fell right back into poverty. They're saying that this could have been prevented, and why was it not prevented? Census data confirms that the child tax credit payments reduced child poverty by up to 40%. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said, it was a life-changing victory for families. She said it was like Social Security payments for children. President Biden said it was one of his most proud accomplishments. Now, I want to show you the opposite side of the arguments. I think it's best summarized by what the House Ways and Means Committee said. They said, based on the analysis from the nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation, permanently extending the child tax credit payments would cost taxpayers $1.4 trillion over the next 10 years. Shrink the economy by $50 billion, decrease real wages, make more Americans dependent on the governments, and further fuel inflation. The Republican leader of the Ways and Means Committee, Kevin Brady, said, and I quote, Democrats in Washington are pushing the very same failed policies that have created a cruel economy for working families. We know that if made permanent, Democrats' partisan child tax credit would result in up to 1.5 million Americans exiting the workforce. The best thing that we can do to help families is helping people return to work and making tax cuts permanent. So let me tell you why the Democrats are saying that they believe that they have leverage over the Republicans. President Trump passed a whole bunch of tax cuts for individuals and businesses in 2017. Some of those expired in 2021, and a lot of those were very important to businesses. One of those was the research and development tax credit valued at $45 billion. So this was a game changer to many businesses, especially in manufacturing and pharmaceuticals. So the lobbyists, they're doing their thing. They're putting pressure on Republican politicians to cut a deal with the Democrats. The exchange would be an extension of the child tax credit payments for an extension of the Trump tax cuts. The moderate Democrats are saying that America needs both. A group of 99 Democrats in the House of Representatives wrote a letter to House leadership. The letter was addressed to Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, Majority Leader Hoyer, and Majority Whip Clyburn. Let me give you the highlights. The letter said, the enhanced child tax credit payments lifted millions of children out of poverty, gave parents the flexibility to return to work, and provided families a strong opportunity to succeed. As members of the New Democrat Coalition, we write today to ask that you prioritize the enhanced child tax credit payments in any end-of-year package. New Dems are committed to supporting American families and strengthening the middle class. We know that when our children and families have the resources to succeed, America succeeds. The letter proceeds to say that the U.S. economy needs both the child tax credit payments and the research and development tax credits. Both are critical to creating long-term, widely shared economic growth. The Democrats said the research and development credits will be essential in increasing investments in American competitiveness and innovation. So you have a lot of Democrats pushing for both the child tax credit payments and the R&D tax credits. And they want to get this done before the new Congress comes into session. And President Biden is pushing to get this done as well. President Biden said the enhanced child tax credit payments were one of the most effective programs that we've ever seen. Biden said his national strategy calls on Congress to expand the child tax credit permanently. He said we'll get it done this time. So you can expect the White House to put pressure on Chuck Schumer in the Senate to begin the negotiations in November. And as mentioned, of course, the Democrats are already trying to get Pelosi to act in the House. So the expectations are the Democrats will offer the trade and there will be compromises on both sides. And I just want you to know that there are multiple Republican proposals for reviving the child tax credit payments. However, the Republican proposals, they come with much more stricter eligibility requirements. Therefore, it is expected that when the Republicans and Democrats work on a deal, the child tax credit payments will not be the same as the ones in 2021 in terms of the amounts and who qualifies. So for example, Republicans are talking about making sure that only the very lowest income families with children will receive the full benefit of the child tax credit payments. The Republicans are expected to demand that the child tax credit payments have a working requirements for eligibility. So that's what Republican Senators Mitt Romney and Marco Rubio were advocating for, and it's stated in their respective proposals. So the goal of the Republicans' version of the child tax credit payments is to promote workforce participation. So they think that that's the best approach to prevent poverty. Anybody with children that wants to work can work, and if their income is not sufficient for the family, these child tax credit payments will be there to supplement them. But trust me, and I understand that there's going to be criticism however the negotiations go. So this is definitely a situation where you're not going to be able to please everyone. So many recipients of the child tax credit payment set, the additional money significantly helped to offset the rising cost of everything, to offset inflation. Critics are saying that it's things like this. Things like the child tax credit payments are what caused inflation. And then you have people without children or people who did not qualify saying that this isn't fair at all. How about the people without children? So please let me know your opinions in the comments down below. And please take a look at what other people are saying. I guarantee you're going to see opinions and perspectives just all over the place. But that's the current status update. They're going to try to negotiate this and they're going to try to pull this off before January. And I'm not talking about just the Democrats because the R&D tax credit, that's so important to the Republicans as well. If nothing gets done by the time the newly elected officials come into power, then all the variables, they're going to change again. And then it's going to depend on the makeup of the new Congress. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. Please be sure to subscribe, and I wish you a very nice day.